colleagues. Now we go for the panel discussion. So this panel discussion, as I said that now there are five esteemed from the corporate world and also from the different research sectors, and those who are all the experts, the fuel cell technology and the particularly what is really happening in the automobile sector. So this, I invite the first panelist, Mr. Vikram Gulati, who is the Vice President of Toyota Kirloskar Motors India, and these panelists will take. My request will be that they take roughly about 5 to 6 minutes, or maximum 8 minutes. So that we have plenty of time for the question and answer session. Mr. Gulati.
Hope my presentation is visible.
Yeah, it is.
So, thank you for having me. Hydrogen really makes huge sense as far as India is concerned, and it's not only India, globally, it's extremely promising energy storage medium going forward, primarily because of the fact that the availability of hydrogen is going to be not an issue. It has renewable energy, biomass. The time you can store the energy is much longer, and energy density is much higher as compared to other options, including battery. And given the fact that it has application across sectors, especially around the heavy energy requiring industrial sectors going forward, it really is a very promising fuel for the future. As far as India is concerned, it promises to be a solution which can dramatically reduce our import dependency on energy, make us energy self-reliant. This, in addition, leading to a much cleaner future, both in terms of pollution as well as carbon mitigation, as well as economic growth that is greener and cleaner. As far as Toyota is concerned, we are committed to sustainable growth. In 2015, our chairman had announced Toyota Vision for 2050, which is Toyota Environment Challenge, which is around 6 challenges, and 3 of these challenges are around zero carbon emissions. So it includes zero carbon emission from the vehicles that we manufacture by 2050, but goes well beyond that and also encompasses the manufacturing side of impact of the manufacturing activity, and also covers life cycle zero carbon. So in effect, in 2015, we declared a target of reaching zero carbon from a lifestyle perspective of the products that we make by 2050, much ahead of the times. As most of you would be aware, Toyota has been working in electrified technologies and environmental technologies since early 70s. And in early 90s, we actually came out with an electric vehicle called RAV4. Since then, we've been consistently working towards popularizing all electrified technologies, which includes battery electrics, hybrids, PHEVs, and hydrogen. Of course, we are getting much more deeper into electrics and hydrogen now that the consumer acceptance and technology price down is now beginning to show meaningful movement. Because we've been consistently working and in a pioneering manner towards electrification, we've achieved a cumulative sale of 17 million electrified vehicles in our journey till now. Going forward, we are committed to electrification. So by 2025, you'll see every year Toyota selling globally 5.5 million electrified vehicles, of which 1 million is going to be either battery, electric, or fuel cells. Our journey in the fuel cell space started very early 1992, and the first Mirai, which came into sales, was in December 14. What one must understand when we talk about electrification, and this is very important, is the fact that all electrified technologies, whether it's a strong hybrid, battery electric, plug-in, or a fuel cell, the key factor is that they all have electric powertrain, wherein the electric powertrain parts are common. So motor, batteries, and inverters. This is very critical in terms of building scale and being able to localize many of these components. So fuel cell, if you look at it, is nothing but an electrified technology which is self-charging, wherein you have a battery. In addition to that, you have a fuel cell and a hydrogen tank. So to just give you an example, the Mirai, the motor and the PCU is same as RX 450H, which is the hybrid Lexus, and you have the battery, which is same as the Camry hybrid. And of course, the only differing part being the fuel cell components, which is the stack and the hydrogen tank. Now, this is very critical in terms of driving volumes, which can drive down costs to make the technology viable. Talking about making technology viable, when we started in 2008, when first model was introduced, and going up to 2015 when the Mirai came in, the cost down that we've seen is around 1/20th. Going forward, these costs have come down dramatically even further, but there is a lot more needs to be done, and there is requirement of ever improving performance and improving the cost equation for this technology to become mainstream. As far as numbers are concerned, Mirai in 1920 sold approximately 10,000 units. Going forward, it's going to be shifting from a niche manufacturing to assembly line, sort of a semi-mass manufacturing going forward this year onwards, targeting around 30,000 units per year. The key, like I said, is for manufacturing to take place, we really have to get scale. In order to get scale, the key aspect is aggregation of demand, and therefore Toyota has also been looking well beyond just cars, and we've been using the fuel stack and the hydrogen system in many other applications like the buses, trucks, both large and small, as well as looking and exploring industrial applications along with stationary power storage possibilities. This is through modelization of the fuel stack, which allows it to be used in different applications. The scale multiplication can be huge. For example, in a bus, you would use up a fuel cell stack 40 times that of a Mirai. And this is the real key in terms of driving scale and driving down cost. Going forward for India, both expansion of hydrogen demand as well as supply of affordable hydrogen. So there have to be interventions both on the supply side and demand side, and all the stakeholders, the industry, the government, and the academia will have to collaborate for this purpose. Some of the low-hanging fruits which we see that can be looked at is acceleration of regulation harmonization with international regulations, incentives and tax benefits which are otherwise being extended to battery electric vehicles. Going forward, the most meaningful regulation that can really in India is linking the GST or the taxation to carbon emissions, because that makes it in terms of merit-based taxation. So these things, we believe the government with its recently announced mission for green hydrogen, we believe these interventions will come in, and this will definitely speed up movement towards the hydrogen economy in India. Like I said, in India, manufacturing, we are committed, we want to do it as fast as possible, but one of the key things for local manufacturing of any of the electrified vehicles, whether it's a hybrid or a electric or even a hydrogen vehicle, whether it's a car or a truck or a bus, it's really going to be about getting investment viability, which can come only if there is aggregation of demand, and we believe that can be achieved by supporting all electrified technologies, right from a strong hybrid to a plug-in to a battery to a FCEV. This is, of course, based on the minimum requirement of supply-side incentives, which government is already working on. Going forward, we see that hydrogen and electricity are complementary. They are not competitive, but they are synergic, and both of these means are going to kind of complementarily work going forward. In the transportation space, we see that when we talk about electrified technologies, there's going to be relevant space for all technologies going forward, even well beyond 2030s, 40s. And that really depends upon consumer requirements, which can be defined in two key parameters of vehicle size and travel distance. For smaller distances and smaller vehicles, BEVs clearly come out as the required solution. However, when you go to the other extreme of very large vehicles with heavy payloads, traveling long distances at a stretch, things like large cars, large SUVs, buses, trucks, etc., their FCVs will have a very relevant place to play a role. With that, I'd like to conclude and thank you for having me. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Gulati. And as it looks like that, as you have mentioned, that both electric vehicles as well as the hydrogen-based fuel cell technology-based vehicles can both be complementary and both can exist together because there is a synergy in between them. So that is a good news. And now